Make sure to subscribe to Apillow on YouTube. Very cool content creator.
People. Yugopnik. Bosch. Hassan Abi, even. We're talking about a video by a recent up-and-comer in the lefty politics space, Yugopnik, in the not politics space, but the political video space, I should say. And he recently posted a video called The Left YouTube Pipeline, The Good, the Bad, the Hot. Wow, wow, wow. And as you can see, we have Hassan Abi in the top right left-hand corner. But yeah, we have Hassan in the top left-hand corner. And we're going to be playing a little bit of video games. We're going to be playing a little bit of Infamous 1 while we watch this video, so it's going to be pretty fun. I've not seen it before outside of the first couple of seconds, which is why I keep saying Hassan Abi, because that's not how Yugopnik pronounces his name, and I thought it was funny. That's not how he typically pronounces it. We're gonna watch this, and we're gonna have some fun. So, the Animal Crossing music is going off. Ladies and gentlemen, the Infamous is in my hands. Also, the bisexual lighting is on. This is a proper game react stream. So, ladies and gentlemen, and those not within, let's get to it.
A billionaire. Second thought, more like...
Oh god, we missed it. We missed Hassan Abi. But first, actually, I completely did it the wrong way. So, let's get into the react.
Hassan Abi, more like Hassan a billionaire. Second thought, more like second tank.
Thoughts on this guy being a tanky? I hope he fucking drives a tank to your house, okay?
ContraPoints, more like pro status quo points.
Also, chat, please tell me if either the video or the game is too loud. Or me.
Is a dirty limp, godforsaken tanky, or the worst of them all, a dirty shill. These eternal callouts thrown around in the gladiatorial arena, which is...
Oh my god! It's Bosch! Chat, look! It's Bosch! He put Bosch on screen. What is Bosch on screen?
Online left-wing propaganda, or as us kids call it, left-wing YouTube content, have left so many confused on who the hell they should even listen to. But before we begin answering that question, what even is a left YouTube, breadtube, the swolletariat, or whatever you want to call it? Depending on who you ask, they will give you different definitions. But as an unwilling member of this so-called community, and to avoid infighting before this video even starts, let me...
Ew. Why are the look controls inverted up and down? Ew. No! Okay, I'm sorry.
Give you a definition which we'll use as a baseline for this entire conversation. They're simply a loose cluster of channels advocating progressive ideas based on culture, race, and most importantly, class, characterized by infighting and a constant disagreement on what is to be done. Noah Samson had made a fantastic guide to the basics of leftists on YouTube. Go ahead and check out his work.
Wasn't Noah Samson? It was either Noah Samson or DJ Mute. The Hall was not your ally. Regardless, I know Noah Samson made a headpiece video on Zan, and was really weird about it afterwards. Keep in mind, Yugopnik has a podcast alongside Second Thought and Hakeem, so this video and what he's doing is already going to be pretty heavily anti-streamer. It's more so a matter of just figuring out exactly what he's going to do. So, we'll have to wait and see.
Especially if you're still confused about what any of these words coming out of my mouth.
Or, let me be charitable, because generally, not second thought, generally, in my experience, Yugopnik has been a lot better of a content creator than Second Thought or Hakeem. So I'm just going to assume that I need to get on this. But I'm also going to assume that this video will probably be in more good faith. I would hope. I'm going to give him that benefit of the doubt, that charitability, because he seems to be a pretty normal guy, all things considered.
Even
Just not
me.
necessarily in the best space.
Good. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get to what we're actually here for. Me telling you which channels are good and which you should avoid like the plague because of my very specific niche political disagreements with them. No. What
At least
are you
he's
telling me?
honest.
Hundreds of those?
At least he's
already
honest
been
that it's
made?
like niche
Commonly
political
for
disagreements.
both.
Oh wait, shit. Damn it. Okay. At least he's admitting that these are like niche political disagreements. I will give him that.
So now I can't just score easy YouTube infighting algorithm points by calling other channels stupid and wrong. Well, shit, I really want to do a video on this eclectic group of annoying and petty, but also funny, passionate, creative, and smart creators who are in it for a better world for themselves and most commonly for both. So instead of looking at them individually, let's look at this LeftTube pipeline in general by exploring how it works, if it works, is it cringe, is it not, and most importantly, what can be done to maybe, I don't know, improve it.
Okay.
A funnel or a pipeline, as it's more commonly known in this context, is not much more than marketing terminology. When you want to sell a product or a service to people who don't know anything about your business, you need to put them through a few steps before they're ready to buy.
Okay.
All these steps combined are simply called a funnel. At first, you need to inform them about the existence of your product, then tell them how it can solve some of their problems, give them some data on how it helped others in the past, some stats about how it works, and finally, a deal you're willing to propose.
Okay, so far I have no issue with the framing of LeftYouTube as being a pipeline. Because it is! It is! Not every pipeline is sinister, yeah? But like, whenever you're starting your journey on LeftYouTube, you don't typically you don't start with someone like Vosh. You start with someone who's a lot less into the more constant upload content. I know how I got into LeftYouTube is that, you know, I first discovered PhilosophyTube, then I moved over to other video essays, like ContraPoint's H-Bomber guy, and then I got Vosh recommendation on my channel, Zan recommendations, and fuck it, here I am now. Now I'm on LeftYouTube. Doing LeftYouTube, reacting to a LeftYouTube video. Pretty fucking funny. So it's so hard to find decent video essays. It depends. The game is super quiet compared to everything else. That's kind of what I wanted. But with LeftYouTube, it is a pipeline or a funnel, and you do start off on like the outset, and then as you get in deeper, you're going to find more content creators. Like I would say, if you're watching me, you're probably fairly deep in, just due to how small I am in size as a content creator. Whereas if you're watching someone like Vosh, probably not as deep in. If you're watching someone like Hassan, probably not deep at all, considering who Hassan is as a content creator, etc., etc., etc. It kind of matters exactly who, but it also is important to note that this pipeline has two ways it goes. You have the pipeline that leads you towards actual lefty politics, and then you have the pipeline that leads you towards tankies. And I would say, based on who Yugopnik interacts with, both Hakeem and Second Thought, I would probably be willing to say that Yugopnik is part of the pipeline. His content is part of the pipeline that could lead you one of two ways with what he produces, because he generally talks about fascism. But what we're seeing from Yugopnik, in terms of his rhetoric, and especially this video, it's probably going to be pushing more people more towards the tanky side, or I'll even give it a third side. the terminally online Twitter user side. Okay, so that's the side populated by like FD Signifier and like Thought Slime stands. You know, not far enough along to be considered a fucking ML. Yeah, but not like not streamer side either. You know, just terminally online Twitter leftists who like to yell at people over little shit. Yeah, the Twitter user with like 11 followers. You know, that's also side. So
Political funnels work in a very similar manner, albeit a bit more complicated, because you see, these different steps in a business funnel are managed by a tight group of professionals, while political ones are managed by a wide range of disconnected individuals and organizations from all over the world. Instead of selling a product, they're pitching an idea. Instead of leading you to a sale, they're leading you to, in this case of the left, an elevated class-conscious perception of the world, while hopefully entertaining you in the process. Now, while this funnel is much bigger than a bunch of people on YouTube or Twitch, it would be foolish to ignore a little thing called the internet, hence why we'll concentrate on just that. Specifically, the big red button website, YouTube. The current lack of organization and structure among these free-floating radicals simply leads all of them to naturally kind of fall into different parts of the funnel. Some contribute to people going down the pipeline, while others, not so much. And this is exactly what I would like to explore with you today. Building a grander schematic while using examples of what this funnel looks like now, how different creators impact it, but also more importantly, how with a simple shift we could be far more productive while also doing what we love, making a living off of internet shitposting.
Fair. Who doesn't want to make a living off of internet shitposting? That's fun. But we gotta be careful with how we do it with politics, so. I'm actually, so far, fairly interested in what Yugopnik has to say in this video. I'm worried about the angle he may take it, but again, charitability is a thing, and I'm gonna give it to him. Okay?
Look at this graph! First, I had to define the goal of this left-wing funnel. For right-wing funnels, it would be making people blame all their ills on everything except the capitalist system, be that minority groups, gay frogs, vaccines, or lizards.
Okay, and if we're talking about general funnels, my general perception of a left-wing funnel, since we're not just talking content funnels, but my general perception of a left-wing funnel would be, maybe, we are all online, so you probably start off online. You might have been, who knows, raised to be like more politically liberal, and then you find some things that are kind of incongruent to you. Maybe you look at what's going on in Republican states and you go, Jesus Christ, that's horrible. It looks exactly like this, just a bunch of innocent people lying on the ground for no reason in a video game. Quite literally in a video game. But you look at these incongruencies with life, and you start noticing some bad things about capitalism. Like maybe you get a pretty dead-end fucking job where you're mistreated, you're passed up for raises, etc., 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 where your boss is a piece of shit, where you're working paycheck to paycheck. If that, a lot of people can't even work paycheck to paycheck anymore. Maybe you have a run-in with some cops that doesn't go too well for you. Maybe you grew up in poverty, etc., etc., etc. You have some life experiences that starts you down some pathways, some lines of inquiry, and you start to, realize capitalism is fucked. The way that we structure our businesses is fucked. The way that corporations are essentially allowed to bribe our politicians through lobbying and through corporate donations is fucked. You start to learn that kind of thing. Yeah? So that is what I would generally consider the leftward pipeline, and then from there, you maybe move down a little more, a little less. It depends on the person. Some people become Marxists, some people don't. Some people become Socdems. Some people think that like all of the ills in the world are caused by America, which fair, America definitely causes a lot of shit, but they'll think that all of the ills in the world are caused by America. So by supporting some non-American country, things might get better, not realizing the fact that the issue is in of itself states, etc., etc., etc. It all depends on the person. Pipelines can be different, but there are some general trends. Anyways, I'm gonna unpause Lizard Obama now.
An example of such a right-wing funnel would be, hooking them with messed up transphobic propaganda. Then you spoon-feed them a bit of xenophobia, and you top that off with some heavier conspiracies once they're deep enough in the rabbit hole, and you've done it. Perfect drones. For the left, the end point of any online funnel, when you bring it back to the basics, would be getting people to actually apply their beliefs in the real world. Do shit, organize, unionize, protest, and other things.
I would agree. This should be the end goal of leftist politics. It should be getting people involved in doing outward politics. Go work with Progressive Victory. You can phone bank with them. Get the word out to vote for some more progressive candidates. Although, probably considering the spaces that Yugopnik operates in, that wouldn't be the thing that people would encourage you to do. But do that. Go to protests. Educate some other people on the things that you learn from lefty YouTubers. I would say that is a pretty good end goal for lefty YouTube. So far, so good.
Things I cannot say if I want to keep this video up on YouTube. So, okay. I think this is
wait.
Protest and other things I cannot say if I want to keep this video up on YouTube.
That bad.
So, okay. I think this is a wide enough, fair goal, which doesn't get too...
Okay, chat, I'm actually going to put a quick little poll up. I should have asked this before. I want to know what run y'all want me to do. I'm going to put that up in chat right quick.
Tangled with whatever Marxism, Leninism, anarcho-feminist, judo, Bolshevik, democratic, POC, cracker, liberal, communist school of thought you all belong to. The funnel should build socialists and anarchists who act on their ideas, because without that, this whole thing is just a circle jerk.
Hold up. That was an interesting delineation.
The funnel should build socialists and anarchists who act on their ideas.
Okay, should build socialists and anarchists. That is an interesting distinction to make between the two. But he doesn't seem to necessarily have... It's like he's listing socialists and anarchists alongside each other. So that would indicate that he doesn't have a horrible view. Which I can get into my view on anarchism in like a later video. Generally, I think states are bad and that we should be trying to dismantle as many unjust power structures as we can. I also believe that a lot of anarchists on Twitter are really fucking annoying. Get into like really stupid arguments for a ideology and philosophy that they will never see in their lifetimes, and then they're fucking arguing over like the logistics of bathroom heroin. It's very stupid sometimes. But you know what? We love our anarchists, our little boobalas. They're very nice, they're very lovely. So, just occasionally get into like very stupid arguments online that have no bearing. So, yeah.
Because without that, this whole thing is just a circle jerk. So, this is what I came up with.
Okay, so we have the news, then we have reply guys, we have media analysis. I almost said analysts. It's realistically it should be media analysts if we're talking about YouTubers, but I guess I'll do media analysis because like there's I guess the category's reply guys, not like individual reply guys. So never mind. Analysis works. Streamers. Which is currently very small, but I'm seeing a bit of Mike from PA in there. The entertainers, so we have funny jokers, funny little guys, podcasters, hype men, okay, and then teachers. So I'm interested to see, exactly based on who he put in here, what he means by this. Excuse me, I apologize for burping into the mic. Oh yeah, humor on streamers. You're right about that. And I'm interested to see what he means by tumors.
Yeah.
Also, before we continue this and get into it, because this is the real meat of the video, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you all, because at the time this video goes out, we just hit 4.7k subscribers on this channel. Thank you so much. It really helps me as a small creator. I want to make this a career. I want to start video essays, and I can only do that if I have an audience to port over to that video essay channel. So if you're watching this video and you aren't subscribed yet, do what Kaffles told you in the beginning of the video. Subscribe to Apillow. Very cool content creator. Hit the subscribe button down below. We're about to get deep into the analysis of this video, and it's kind of the least that you can do to help me out as a smaller content creator in this space. And you can also like the video too if you want to get it pushed out to more people. Anyways, back to the show.
Not the prettiest thing, but let me walk you through it. Each layer has multiple types of creators. These types are pretty simplistic, and most of these people fit multiple categories and even funnels.
Ooh,
but
so
I had to stop somewhere
okay,
in the
parkour
name
in
of
this
your
game's
and my own ever-deteriorating attention span.
Oh,
Many of the
parkour
people
in
on
the
this
game is
list
weird
will
and
likely
floaty.
not identify with the position I'm giving them, either because of humility by saying shit like, well, we just make entertainment, or that they're small-headed dum-dums that you shouldn't listen to while managing to deliver brilliant insight time and time again. And the most important category of people on this list who will not like being identified with their label are, well, I call them tumors, my man. And funny enough, this is the only category that permeates all the layers of the funnel.
I would like to see, because again, this video is going to be very, very, very self-centered. Wait, Rusty Metal Descent. I'm so tired. I should have read that before I did anything. Trying to like push it. Yeah, so I find it very interesting that his framing of people that he doesn't like, which he's admitting here, these are people that he doesn't particularly like. I find it interesting. Let's listen.
I call them time and time again. And the most important category of people on this list who will not like being identified.
Yeah, I'm sorry, people. I know you don't like being identified as this, but you are a tumor on the left. So I'm interested to see who he deems so bad that he's equating them to being like tumors, like growths on people that harm them substantially. Kill them. I'm really interested to see what he means by tumor in this video. So, yeah, we're gonna have to see.
With their label are, well, I call them tumors, my man. And funny enough, this is the only category that permeates all the layers of the funnel. But you know what else permeates my existence as a proud second worlder? No access to most of the good shows and movies I want
my
to consume
God.
by every fiber, only because some corporate executive decided
Fucking VPN ad.
get many benefits of Atlas VPN for the ridiculously low price. You can take this deal by clicking the link in the description below. Be quick, as this is a time-limited offer. You see, everyone's journey down the funnel, while generally within certain parameters, can go very differently. For some,
Why
it takes
did I get stuck
decades,
right
while
there?
others get a matching Mao and Lenin tattoo 10 minutes after they date their first communist. Hell, some never even make it down the funnel and remain liberals at best, or whatever ideology your uncle has at worst. Why this happens, both through the online and other political or sales funnels, is incalculably wide and diverse. We all come from different worlds, different realities, ideologies, call them whatever you want. And it's obvious that one method cannot work for everyone, no matter how much you've been taught to hate or love your boss in the first place. So, then, in the funnel, who exactly are the so-called tumors? I didn't name them that out of spite, but because they simply do operate like tumors. Swelling, growing, and growing. No other reason to exist. The tumors refuse to participate in said funnel, and instead they become channels, writers, content creators, and so on, whose entire purpose is mostly growing their own image, brand, and audience.
Okay.
Well, there's nothing wrong in trying to grow your
Okay, people who are trying to grow their own image, brand, and audience, being tumors, I would say probably yeah. I do think people who get into political content, because they want to, they just want to make themselves seem better, and they want to enrich themselves, etc., 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 people who do it for that reason are tumors. They are an issue. If you are just getting into doing political content because you want to get famous off of it, one, very unlikely to happen. Like I know earlier I talked about hitting a new high on the channel, 4.7k. Again, thank y'all for that. I couldn't do it without y'all. It's all y'all. But there is an issue if someone is getting into doing political content just because they want to get big off of it. That leads very heavily to people who are grifters, people who will say one thing, not really believe it, but they're only saying it or getting into like some certain spaces to get bigger and to get money off of it. Those people are grifters. One thing I will say is that I try to be very consistent about my beliefs, and whenever I do change my beliefs, it's because I have genuinely thought for a very long time on a certain belief to switch me over from it. Yeah, I take my political beliefs very seriously, I take my views very seriously. And whenever I am talking to y'all on this channel, I'm trying to lend you a bit of education while also giving you my personal opinion on politics. So far, him framing people who do political content just because they want to get big off of it, framing them as tumors, is something that I agree with. I wonder what he's going to class as these kinds of people, though. So far, his first bit on tumors, the whole they're getting into it just because they want to get bigger, that is something I would agree. Hassan tumor confirmed, not clickbait. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows where he's going to class Hassan? On my screen, well, I'm showing it. This is what the screen that I'm playing on looks like right now. I have the video and then the actual game. The thing he showed, the little triangle, was too small for me to see if Hassan was on there, so I wonder if this guy's a tumor. I need to delete that. That was like for a one-off joke. So we're gonna have to see where he puts Hassan on here. He could be a tumor, he could not be. It depends.
Shit, the only reason you end up in this category is if you grow it at the expense of the funnel. You see, the problem with pushing people down the funnel for them is that their content stops being engaging for people who've actually moved further down, who managed to, for the lack of a better word, outgrow them. People moving down the funnel means less views, listens, or streams. Less views, listens, or streams means less money, popularity, and relevancy. So sometimes subconsciously, and other times with very real strategy and intent in mind, tumors shit talk and smear other creators from the funnels below them. They often camouflage that as being principled, fighting against problematic schools of thought, or my favorite, purity checking. Instead, most of the time, it's...
Okay, I'm gonna take shitting on other creators as shitting on other creators and not just criticizing them. I'm going to be as charitable as possible.
They often
take what he's saying at face value.
Camouflage that as being principled, fighting against problematic schools of thought, or my favorite, purity checking.
Okay, fighting against problematic schools of thought, I would want to see what school of thought that he is saying that people are using disingenuously to say that they're fighting against to grow themselves at the expense of the left. I want to know exactly what school of thought he's talking about here. He mentions it.
Instead, most of the time, it's simple drama and content baiting.
Okay, that is also a big issue. There is a big issue with people doing left content. Well, not necessarily a big issue. I don't really see it as much. But there is an issue with people doing left content and also baiting off of it. Baiting off of the left content. Trying to do drama. Who get only into the space to do drama. I don't talk lefty politics just because I want to talk about drama. That's not true. Not at all. Jesus Christ, I'm getting shot at. I actually really don't like drama. If you'll notice, I have avoided covering like a lot of drama segments. Like when the DJ Mule shit happened, I didn't cover it. When the Noah Samson shit happened, I didn't cover it because I don't really like covering drama on my YouTube channel. At most, what I'll do is I'll see some dumb shit being said about someone on Twitter, and then I'll transform that into talking about how we should and shouldn't do things. Like, I did that recently with the Keffels is not a fascist video. I was talking about how we need to be more, like, I use that jumping off point, someone calling couples of fascists, as a jumping off point to talk about when and when we shouldn't call someone fascist, how we should be more principled in what we call fascist, etc., etc., etc. That was what I was mostly using that for as a jumping off. If I can't really add anything onto a drama, that's when I usually avoid it. I want to be able to turn it into an educational situation. I don't just want to sit there all day going, well, X called Y blah blah blah, and now blah 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 blah. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And generally, all of the content creators I watch typically don't do that. The only time where something like that doesn't happen is when, like, a content creator is getting directly attacked themselves. And in that situation, I can't really blame them because they're being attacked. So, yeah. This game's cutscenes look super cool. They are. Sucker Punch is an amazing studio when it comes to cutscenes. I accidentally clicked the game instead of the video time.
These are mostly debate bro channels and streamers, often liberal elements LARPing class consciousness in the beginning, but as time goes by...
That's a little interesting that he has AOC up for that one. I wouldn't... Listen, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, and this is... Maybe call me a little bit of conspiracy theorist, maybe a little conspiracy brain. AOC is a lot more base than she lets on. Like, I heavily doubt that AOC is as far politically as she lets on. Is as, where she is politically as she lets on. I wouldn't be shocked if she was, like, significantly more far left than she actually is, and she's just has to do politics. But I would be willing to say that she's probably a lot more far off. But money is money, I suppose. I don't think most people like covering drama shit. Yeah, I also don't like covering drama shit, because one thing about covering drama is that shit can change on you really quickly, which is not something that you want. You don't want shit to change on you very quickly when it comes to covering your drama. And also, you don't want to get a reputation as a fucking drama hawk, because no one likes drama hawks. I don't like drama hawks. That's why I really tend to not like to cover YouTube drama shit. Unless, again, I can add a little bit of a, bit of an educational bent to it. I don't like covering YouTube drama. But yeah. Sure. Anyone else I need to fry? Cool.
Show no real signs of any even slightly radical political thought. The both-siders, the lib apologists, the ones who spend 5 hours shit-talking past socialist experiments and then tell you to vote because Biden is the best we've got. The constant conflict behavior and totally embarrassing lack of self.
Wait a second. What was that? What was
any
that?
even slightly radical political thought. The both-siders, the lib apologists, the ones who spend 5 hours shit-talking past socialist experiments and then tell you to vote because Biden is the best we've got.
Okay, so, I don't know whose video that is, so I can't comment on it. However, I will say, this is a little bit weird framing. By past socialist leaders, who do you mean? Do you mean someone who is, you know, fairly principled in their beliefs, had a couple of issues? Or do you mean someone whose entire socialist thing was ruling a country going, yes, we are socialists, actually. Meanwhile, you commit mass ethnic cleansings against groups of people. The only thing socialist or Marxist about you is the name of your political party, and you heavily suppress people's rights, and you more so just federalize everything. Instead of, you know, having things be worker-owned, and your excuse for having things worker-owned is, oh, they're owned by the government, and the government is controlled by the workers. No, you do not have an open right to vote, as you would in any other country. You must vote for the party, or not vote at all, or vote for a party-selected candidate. By the way, we are the only legal party. I would assume it's the latter. Considering who he typically hangs around, I would assume that it's the latter. If we're asking Yugopnik, I guess my only thing to this would be in terms of leaders of that sort, of the latter sort, which, if I'm being honest, I wouldn't even call them leaders. I wouldn't even call him of the latter sort. I would say Fidel Castro, pretty decent guy, all things considered. Actually have a decent amount of respect for Fidel Castro from what I've heard. Also, Raul Castro. It seems like a lot of issues caused in Cuba are, of course, due to the United States embargo on them, which continues to deeply harm Cuba as a nation. And it seems like generally the government of Cuba, while it could be better on things such as the whole open democracy shit, it is one of those scenarios where I can actually kind of forgive them for not being the best on the democracy shit. Because, like, let's be honest, if Cuba tried like the democratic shit in the 70s, they would have gotten fucking Pinochet. Like, let's be 100% honest. That 100% would have happened. The Castro brothers staying in power, as bad as it does kind of fucking seem, I can sort of understand it. And overall, Cuba has been better than a lot of these countries on actually doling out something approximating worker ownership of the means of production. They've been a lot better on that. And they've also been a lot better on human rights. So generally, I would say Cuba's done pretty good for itself. But if he's bringing up quote-unquote socialist leaders like Joseph Stalin, who I would say not really a socialist leader, I'm going to have an issue with that. True. Thank you. But yeah.
The constant conflict-prone behavior and totally embarrassing lack of self-awareness. But also, on the other spectrum, there are the elitist theory academics and campists who completely miss that little point of philosophers changing the world, not just being the most right. And while disagreements are bound to happen wherever there are two dudes and a cup half full, it's
aim. Fucking aim. No! Why was that so fluffy? Okay, let's go back.
But also, on the other spectrum, there are the elitist theory academics and campists who completely miss that little point of philosophers changing the world, not just being the most right. And while disagreements are bound to happen wherever there are two dudes and a cup half full, it's only when friendly fire becomes pretty much your most successful method of growing your online presence that you've become the tumor. It doesn't matter if they see themselves as such, or if you like them or hate their guts. Hell, I'm even going to go so far as not to ascribe them as necessarily bad or intentionally malignant.
Okay.
Probably half of them are doing what in their ideological sense seems right. But when it comes to what we're talking about here, the online left-wing political funnel, they are unfortunately not one of those harmless tumors. They keep people from advancing ideologically. They provide fuel for even greater than usual infighting. They dilute the movement, and most importantly, they dilute ideological growth into a simple
So, wait, actually, I'm going to let him finish this point.
childish game of, I'm right, no, I'm right, no, I'm right. Criticism should, of course, be shared amongst people on the same team, but in one-to-one conversations, not through loudspeakers. It's just impractical unless all you want to do is grow your YouTube presence.
Okay, so on that topic, again, people who mostly grow through fomenting drama and trying to argue with each other, being seen as tumors, I would fully, wholeheartedly agree that these people are tumors. People who specifically get into the content space and then start doing hit pieces on people to try to get big quickly, and instantly turn their content, not instantly, but like immediately show themselves to be someone who's just getting into it to get into drama because drama gets views and clicks and stuff and shit like that. Those people are bad. I would say those people are tumors. Most recently, we had people like DJ Mule do this. We had people like FD Signifier really signal boosting those kinds of people who get into YouTube, and then their first thing, or one of the first things that they do, is that they make a fucking hit piece. For some reason, it's a lot of the times on Zan, which is... Dude, listen, as someone who's a friend of Zan, it's so weird, like, how I'll just, like, be living life, and then someone will be like, dude, did you like, see the hit piece on Zan? And it's like, no. Why is there a new fucking hit piece? It's so funny. It's like people think that they can use Zan as like a proxy to attack. It's like they think they can use Zan as like a proxy to attack a bigger creator in the space who they don't want to directly go after, but will be more than glad to mention in the video about Zan. I wonder why they do that. But yeah, no, those people are an issue. Like, don't get into left-wing content just because you want to fucking hit piece people. Get big on views. Pretty shit. Ah! It's pretty shitty. Pretty shitty. Just like these people are pretty shitty. Let me be. Yeah. Yeah, get fucking barreled. Yeah. Get trapped on top of the PS3 water. Yeah. Cause we can't animate you going under the water. Yeah. Hardware limitations. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, no, those people are an issue. I do agree. I do agree if that's the angle that he's going for. It remains to be seen though. So we're gonna have to see.
We don't all have to agree, and realistically can only guess what school of thought might end up being the one who's right in the end. That's if we don't all die by then.
Ow,
and
ow.
it's exactly
oh
in
wait, they're
accepting this
events. I'm
modesty
stupid.
of
I'm
uncertainty
dumb.
that we should treat others in the funnel with all due respect. Who in the fuck says we're the ones who got it all figured out? All you can do is push your ideas and let others push theirs in this wide,
Ouch.
beautiful, ideological family of ours. Don't operate like a dirty capitalist market. History will show what will work or won't. It's on us to push people to action and not just petty, stupid infighting. And the best part is that it's a total myth that by pushing people down the funnel, you will lose an audience. Look at plenty of creators ranging from Second Thought, Philosophy Tube, or Hassan who dedicate their time to informing, entertaining, and teaching at a relative entry level and yet manage to keep some of the biggest audiences on here without living off of cannibalizing other left-adjacent channels they might not.
Well, no, Hassan just lives on cannibalizing smaller YouTube content creators' content whenever he goes off to hookups. Damn it. I deserve that.
Fully agree with. But okay, we've spent enough time on these tumors. Disagreements will exist, but the funnel takes precedence. Blah, 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 blah. We should all get along. Yugopniks should run for the Miss World pageant. Yeah, you all get it. Originally, I was going to actually show you the creators I would consider the tumor category, but I decided against it out of naivety or hope that they might eventually step out of this role. They might not even be realizing they're playing. We're still on the same side, I think. Anyways, now let's actually take a peek into the meat of this chunky-ass funnel of ours.
By his definition, Hassan should also be a tumor. Well, we haven't seen where Hassan is in. Hassan. Damn. Damn. That was bad. We haven't even seen where Hassan should be on this. So, you know, it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. Hassan Piker is on this. Okay. Can I... It's done. Thank you very much.
We all start from somewhere.
Top layer.
Our initial trigger to changing our mind can be anything from personal experience to watching a dude we follow get dunked on in a YouTube video. There's no right, no wrong approach, and that's exactly why this section of the funnel is so important, and not to forget, kind of fun. Let's start from the reply guys. Their lore takes us back to the anti-SJW era, a dark and sweaty time which gave birth to many variants of the Ben Shapiro virus. This virus would seemingly attach itself to unsuspecting videos of progressive feminists or 18-year-old college kids saying something only to be completely obliterated by the superior minds of facts and logic. Well, until people started actually questioning those facts and logics, giving birth to left-wing ownage corn, or what we call the reply guys. This can be done in many formats, through long-form essays like those of H. Bomber Guy.
Okay. No!
Just one
Small problem. Sell your house to fucking... Wait, fuck.
Fucking Aquaman!
Damn it, I got it wrong.
Or Big Joel,
I got it
or
wrong.
direct analytical dunks like from the Cavernacle. Edgy punches like with Bad Empanada streams, or just classic humorous annihilation.
Bad Empanada's
like
been having
Noah
a normal one
Samson or
recently.
Hakim's famous response videos. These videos feel like cold water being splashed in.
Okay. I do wonder why he left out some people who got pretty big off of replying to some videos. I wonder why. I wonder why he's leaving out people who react to like PragerU videos, Jubilee videos, talk about the issues surrounding them. I wonder why he's not mentioning those people in particular, and why it's very specifically people who make pre-created content, with the exception of one person who does the reactathons, the live reaction that he listed, was Bad Empanada. I wonder why.
In your face, just instead of waking up from your fever, you're being shown that, hey, that the really smart dude you've been basing your whole personality around, yeah, they're kind of bloody stupid.
Also, this is a very
Moving
important part of
to
the
second
pipeline.
part, probably what I spend most time watching personally, media analysis. It's the
Hey.
people you should blame.
Hey,
for the saying
everyone.
that everything.
I'm going to be starting a media analysis YouTube channel. It's not up yet. It will be up in a couple of months, but if you want to know whenever it does go up, make sure to join the Discord, linked down below. I want to do media analysis. I will be doing it from a lefty perspective, and I'll also be doing fun media analysis just on shit that I like. It's going to be my less political channel. If you are around for that, you can definitely do that. Definitely go sub to that when it gets up, but you will know when it's up if you are in the Discord or you subscribe here. So hit the subscribe button if you have not already, once again. It's actually perfectly
Political, which it is, no
fits
matter
in.
how much we try to forget. Media analysts take our favorite films, books, series, music, or art in general and show us the underlying ideology of the whole thing. Why we relate so much or why we hated it. What message was it trying to put across, why some of it is propaganda, or why it's, just really bad. Or good. Media analysts get a lot of shit from people further down the funnel for not really doing anything, but how can you say that about some of the greatest propaganda works of our time, like Shrek, a Marxist analysis by Jonas Cheka, and I kid you not, Azure Scapegoat. Yes, there are two analyses of Shrek. Or the greatest takedown of how Enemy at the Gate lies to you by Kay and Skittles. Shows like Renegade Cut, or the recent
Renegade
gem
Cut is pretty good.
over-analyzing the Barbie movies with queer Marxist theory by Alexander Avila.
I love
All
Alexander.
the creators
I
on
used
this
to-
list are pretty
I
great.
used to watch
and
them
not all
when,
of them.
the channel was still called Are They Gay? Pretty cool dude. Okay. What's that channel going to be called? It's I'm not telling y'all so that no one can steal the name.
only focus on media. And
It's actually
while
not
you
gonna be
might
pillow related.
call most of this either over-intellectualizing or contrastingly not much more than consumerist obsession over art, all I can tell you is, well...
Ow. Ow. Actually, ow. Jesus.
News is, well, the news. Arguably a section of the media
Ow.
landscape we lack the
I'm
most in.
sorry
The
about
libs are out here performing group fellatio on the Bidens and Macrons of the world, only outpaced by the giant orange man statues erected hard, deep, and long by the conservative echo chamber. It's kind of hard to compete with the billion-dollar industries, but some are still ready to take this on, pushing through the sludge, getting us informed, and somehow staying away from the big old Murdoch box.
Oh,
Some of my favorite are the excellent Democracy Now!, PLN or Positive Leftist
Okay.
News run by Mexi. Contrastingly, Good Morning Bad News, mostly over on TikTok, or the ever-entertaining Some More
news is fun.
I even run a fledgling openly biased news channel with my boys from the Deprogram podcast called First Thought, where We post 3 times a week and are soon launching our first long-form content. Anyways, while the news section of the funnel won't always directly push someone down, it plays a critical role in fighting against right-wing advancement into the mainstream and hopefully introduces most viewers to critically viewing establishment, billionaire-owned media mouthpieces.
Their own personal bias and agenda controlling exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Oh no, I found a news clip of a bunch of people on the news saying the same. Because they're all probably covering very similar. The news. There's only so much news that happens within a specified period of time because it's news. And they're all saying the same thing because, it so happens that whenever you're a news organization in the same country covering the same news as other news organizations in the same country, and your topics overlap, you're going to say a lot of the same fucking things, including very short phrases like,
So, the introduction
And agenda controlling exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
this is extremely dangerous to our... Now, that whole spiel, all of them saying it, that bit was a little weird. But, like, focusing specifically on the this is extremely dangerous to our democracy bit, kind of a little weird thing. Not gonna lie. Also, again, a lot of this is because a lot of, like, locally owned news organizations are owned by, like, generalized big organizations. Also, a lot of news organizations... Oh my god! A lot of news organizations get their generalized content from the Associated Press, which very often speaks like this. Also, it's a journalistic voice. It's something, damn it, it's something that journalists learn in school, so I'm not quite shocked that... and also, again, news organizations talk to each other because they're news organizations. So, like, I'm not necessarily shocked that this is the position got from. But I do think it's weird to lay this out, especially considering the fact that a lot of these lefty news channels will do the same thing where they cover the same shit. They may not say exactly the same fucking thing, but, like, they're still covering the same topics. A lot of them come to the same conclusion. This is a weird fucking criticism to me. Turn to my last dead drop to get my source. I got you one better. I don't want to climb up there. Kill myself. The pillow I'm laying on a pillow? That's based.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
So,
Well, that
the
clip was
introduction
showing how
funnel...
entire segments were written by one owner. Not necessarily. And also, as a criticism, that's not necessarily bad. Yeah? Actually, wait, no, let me specify this. That is bad. Big corporations are bad, but that doesn't mean that the news is saying anything less false. Yeah, especially local news organizations. Like, local Fox News organizations, at least in my experience, don't have that bad a political bent. They really don't have that bad a political bent, despite what the national Fox News political bent is. Yeah, because a lot of locally owned news, while they will cover larger national stories that they may get a script from, like, corporate to talk about, a lot of them are not written to have a political bent because often they're, like, the only news source in the area, which is fucked, and an issue that is birthed from capitalism. Yeah, that is pretty fucked. But on top of everything, where is it? It's saying, like, gray fucking arrow. I'm going towards gray arrow or gray dot. I'm very tired. While that is an issue that a lot of locally owned news stations, well, not locally owned, but a lot of local news stations are corporate owned, it's important to note that that is the fault of people moving away from cable news. and moving more towards larger news sites, because like the cost it takes to do the news is a lot of fucking money. There's a lot of shit that you have to go into to do the news. I actually did a bit of an essay on it in school, in high school. That is a pretty. The gray indicator around the edge of the map shows the nearest dead drop. Oh, okay. I'm dumb. Yeah. While that is an issue, it isn't necessarily like the biggest. It doesn't discount just how important news can be, and local news, even if they are largely owned by large corporations. That's not necessarily indicative. So I don't know why he's bringing. Although honestly, it's more on me for talking about. Okay. Anyways, continuing on.
Is there to tickle.
Also, Lefty News, I'm gonna say this outright. Lefty YouTube News is never going to be a fucking replacement for like local news ever. Yeah, like no fucking Lefty News channel dude is going to be doing the fucking news, talking about what's going on in your area. It's important to stay locally keyed into your area. If you want to start your own clandestine news channel in your area, feel more than free to. Please actually do that. That would be nice to get some challenge to those corporately owned news channels. Do that, but again, it's a little weird to discount local news sites because of it. Yeah, it's pretty important, and when they're covering national news, they put a lot more of their resources into covering local news than national news. Whenever they cover national news, sometimes out of script, especially since the larger corporations do want to make sure that no one is like covering fucking national news with a political bent, because that's a pretty good way to get your contract lost. Okay? So let's continue.
The curiosity by killing your idols, connecting to you through media and art, or by giving you a new perspective on current events. Lighting the fire is half the work. The big boy, the fat of the funnel, the fat of our lives, entertainment. Get radicalized in the toilet seat, at work, during break, at school, while driving, while drinking, before sleep, or right when you wake up. The opiate of the masses is no longer religion, or even opiates themselves. It's 24/7 non-stop warfare for your screen time. How then, in the nine hells, do you expect any self-respecting movement to not utilize that? Entertaining people and helping them forget about their worries, if only for a moment, are relatively noble goals by themselves. But add an extra ingredient to that concoction, and you get the goddamn powder puff girls of ideology. Political entertainers stem from the early days of late-night talk shows, combining comedy, news, and hot takes, which themselves stem from thousands of years of deeply politicized written, spoken, and performed entertainment. In our era, this field has transformed into a whole mega industry of podcasters, streamers, comedians, and just general people looking to give you a good time. Well, maybe, hopefully, teaching you something along the way. To start off with streamers, they give arguably the biggest bang for your buck of any video entertainment category I can think of. Some of these people spend between 5 and 10 hours a day, every day, pretty much living with their chat. They react to others' content, world events, shoot the shit, react to what chat sends them, or analyze this or that subject. Because so much time is invested by viewers who consume this sort of content, there is an inexplicable bond built between the host and the audience.
You hear that THC carts are killing people. You hear that mattresses are killing people?
This bond leads to far deeper trust than with most other formats of entertainment or content in general. And this trust, which translates into quite real and literal power, can be used to direct, often unexperienced people towards a more factual and kinder way of looking at the world. In an era plagued...
Okay. So far what he's saying about streamers is pretty true. I will say streamers probably do have a higher amount. I know I'm trying to shoot through a shield. I'm wondering if I can get... I have not played Infamous in like a while. So, bear with me. Oh shit. Ow. So yeah. I would say streamers probably do enjoy a higher amount of trust from our audiences, primarily due to the fact that we are live and we are live interacting with you. We do have to deal with some more fucking bad parasocial shit, which is why I do have to say, ladies and gentlemen, I do not know you. You do not know me. You don't even know what my first name is. We don't know each other, in spite of you watching my videos or my live streams. So that is something important to note. But I would say that, yeah, streamers do enjoy a higher amount of trust from our audiences, and that is something that is very important, especially when it comes to the question of, especially when it comes down to the question of getting our supporters, getting the people who watch us to engage in bigger political action. So I tell people very often, what political action to engage in. You can vote, you can canvass, you can do phone banking with Progressive Victory. I have not actually pushed Progressive Victory yet. I'm going to start pushing them a lot more. I'm going to start putting their links in the description of my videos, especially as election season is ramping up. I try to guide people towards that. As well as that, I would generally say, look at what food kitchens you can volunteer at. Look at what protest groups you can join in your area. Some areas, if you live in a relatively sizable area, there are dead-ass protest groups. And how are you standing on electrified rails and not fucking dying? Thank you, Mission Complete. But that is something that's pretty interesting to do. Yeah. Not interesting, but that is something that is pretty important for streamers to do, and generally all the streamers that I've interacted with, whether it be Keffels, I watch Bosch's content, whether it be Zan, a lot of us, what we do try to do is push people towards real action in what they do in the real world. So that's something that I would say is fairly important. Damn it, I wanted to be on that. At least, the fucking ground environment of Infamous is, pretty. And there's actual shit to do on the streets. I thought there isn't down that. But yeah, so that is something that is generally important to do for lefty content, especially streamers. So, want to volunteer for some wildlife conservation stuff? Do it! Volunteer for wildlife conservation stuff. Volunteer for environmental protests. There's an environmental protest. Ah, shit. I was a civilian. There are environmental protest groups everywhere. Everywhere. It could be in a big city near you. You would have to drive to it if you're an American. So it's kinda sorta defeats the point. Not actually. Actually, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because we want to get beyond that point. And doing some environmental protest works. And of course, nature conservation and wildlife conservation. You are helping the planet by doing that. And I would say that wildlife conservation is a fairly leftist goal. It is preserving the beauty of our planet. It is something that is important to do. So I say do it.
By rampant antisocial tendencies, people, especially the young'uns, are looking for role models outside of their homes, but now also schools and friend groups. That's where streamers who treat their role responsibly come into play. From the likes of Hassan, who's basically a one-man Gen Z leftist CNN at this point, or the many different stripes of leftists from Mike from PA, The Surf.
CNN. Interesting comparison to didn't he just shit on corporate media? like he just shit on corporate media and then he's calling Hassan the leftist CNN. Please. Oh, no, please. Ah! Yeah. But yeah, no, now he's calling Hassan the leftist. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that Yugopnik is implying something there because it doesn't seem like he is. But that's just kind of funny to me. That's kind of funny. Okay, continuing on.
Central Committee, No Justice MTG, Rob
Is he gonna say
Rossett,
him?
TRRS, by often unwillingly playing the role of either.
Interesting how he listed a bunch of streamers, but he didn't mention one notable guy. One one noteworthy guy in that space, you know? The guy who raised, say, almost $300,000 for the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund through the use of his community. The guy who phone banked pretty successfully for some candidates alongside Progressive Victory. The guy who's done even more than the PCRF Relief Fund stream. Again, $300,000 on that 24-hour stream alone. I wonder who that is. And I wonder why he left him out of the streamer space. Imagine that! Okay, I think it's safe to say, if that is the end of the streamer part of... Oh, shit. Isn't this guy a suicide bomber? No. Okay. I guess they come later. I find it quite interesting how he left that guy out. If this is the end of the streamer bit, I think it might be safe to say that, the V-Man might be getting classed as, a bit of a tumor. Maybe just a tad bit. Tumors. Maybe a tad cancerous. Maybe Bosch. Bad. Unironically Bosch bad. Okay? But no, I find it quite interesting, because, like, really, Vosh does everything that these other streamers do. If anything, he does more than Hassan, because, like, Vosh talks politics more than Hassan. Of course, recently Hassan's been talking a lot of politics due to the, Progressive Victory, not Progressive Victory, due to the Israel-Palestine issues, but, like, Vosh generally does talk more politics than Hassan does. So I find it very interesting that Bosch isn't mentioned here. Unless, of course, why is your clinic on the fucking roof? Why? You know, this looks like a perfectly pristine building on the inside. Why do you have your clinic on a fucking roof? A roof that it seems like no one can reach. Do you have superpowers, sir? What is going on here? This is insane. What do you mean? We aren't on the topic of conservation anymore, but if you want to help birds, keep your cats indoors. Please keep your cats indoors. Jesus fucking Christ. Stop having outdoor cats. It's not good for your fucking cats. It's not good for your local fucking environment. Cats are predators. They will do predatory shit. And largely, house cats are predators who are not native to the areas where house cats largely are in the United States. Cats are not from the New World, as we call it. They are from the Old World. Stop bringing your fucking cats inside. Outside. They are pretty much engineered to, like, hunt little shit. And that's not something we want to happen to our fun birds. So please, leave your cats inside. Appreciate it. But Jenna, leave your cats inside. Don't be fucking insane.
Role model or main source of the correct takes, streamers when
If
not
you cannot-
embracing the tumor path.
Actually, I will say one last thing on this. If you cannot properly get your cats to exercise, like in the house, if you can't play with them to get them to exercise in the house, you shouldn't own a fucking cat. Stop putting them outside and burdening, like, your local environment. Yeah, continuing on.
Continue to grow into some of the most, or the many different stripes of leftists, from Mike from PA, The Serfs, Central Committee, No Justice MTG, Rob Russ at TRRS, by often unwillingly playing the role of either role model or main source of the correct takes, streamers, when not embracing the tumor path, will continue to grow into some of the most influential people of our era. Like it or not.
Okay, and I find it interesting there. So remember, his definition of tumor was someone who does political content for, like, the sole purpose of growing themselves and their brand. So I'm assuming, considering the fact that Vosh is one of the larger political live streams, and also someone who's overall detrimental to the movement. Can I? Oh yeah, I can switch sides! Yeah, that was another thing that this Infamous game did good compared to Infamous Second Son. You could actually like switch sides of where you're shooting at. It really fucking helps. But again, like that would mean that he probably thinks that Vosh engages in a lot of drama, because he purposefully wants to detriment the left wing movement. Which, no. Actually, as a matter of fact, Vosh is pretty careful in the modern day to like no longer really get into drama all too much. It's like he's in a permanent fortress arc. He will cover it if he needs to, and like someone saying some dumb fuck shit about him. But like generally, he's resigned himself to not really caring anymore. Yeah. So that's something that's interesting. 2, this guy will not die. And 2, I don't really think that Vosh is in it to grow his personal brand. He actually doesn't do a lot in terms of personal brand shit outside of like selling shirts. And then Sweet Myths, the base gods that they are, made like a song for him and use it on occasion. And even then, if someone made a song about me, I would play like hype me. So even people who do play it a lot, I think it's fine. Someone made it for them. Yeah, this is a weird thing to leave out. Vosh doesn't even really engage in this. So if we're ending off streamers like that, and we're already on the tumor talking about it, very interesting to leave out Vosh in particular, especially since he doesn't seem to really engage in a lot of getting into drama just to get into drama behavior, and also being weirdly like scummy about like self-promotion and that. Like he really isn't that, and he really clearly isn't in it to like. But yeah, continuing on.
Next on, we have the jokers. They either tell us we live in a society or make us laugh. They make up the meat of the meat, the largest chunk of the entertainment funnel. Some of them you call comedians, others video essayists and commentators. I cut them into 2 subtypes. Edgelord internet humor, the likes of Wow Mao, who apparently, yes, is an actual leftist. Juche Co-op Gang, a very tall Bart. Aim on animation, which still haunts me in my dreams to this day.
But then pretty much things just become like land creatures.
And the OG who was here before it was even a thing, Batko, and many, many other edgelords. And the second subtype, the long-form jokers who make pretty much everything from essays to short documentaries, like one of my personal favorites, the 2 insane boyfriends over at Boy Boy, the brilliant Mia Mulder, Spooky Scary Socialist with his whole 2 videos, Sean the Talking Skull, Mooncat, who by the way almost drinks as much as me, which is very comforting to say the least. Anyways, a recent rising star, GDF, Philosophy Tube, Balkan Odyssey, and many, many others. By phrasing their content as more generally educational, historical, or as cultural analysis or whatever not-so-scary term, they manage to pique the interest of people just browsing the web looking for a good laugh, or to satisfy their curiosity on this topic or another. They're the shit YouTube will actually recommend. The shit that changes your worldview without you even noticing it. King content, baby. King content.
Fair.
Now, next. Podcasters. I mean, do I have to say anything here? It's podcasts. Radio killed the TV star. If you're gonna spend your time listening to something while you're driving.
The only like lefty podcasts, sort of, that I listen to are well, There's Your Problem, which is an engineering disaster podcast, and fucking Lines Led by Donkeys, which is like, well, There's Your Problem sister show, which talks about like military history, fuck ups in history. Like I don't really listen to a lot of lefty podcasts, so I can't really say anything on the topic. And I'm getting my ass whooped. I need healing. Thank you, electricity. Down. Get down. Get down. Okay. Let's continue.
working out, pushing out those dark thoughts of cosmic insignificance as you fantasize of the warm embrace of non-existence wrapping you in its arms after the excruciating experience of being given life without having ever asked for it, or cleaning, redecorating, or gaming. Podcasts are a constant. I have personally learned a lot from incredible shows like Chapo Trap House for the humor and interesting takes on theory, TrueAnon to grow my...
Where's Virgil, Texas? Where's Virgil, Texas? We don't know. We never addressed it. Where's Virgil, Texas? Whatever happened to Virgil, Texas? It's like Carmen San Diego. But instead of like stealing shit from the rich that was stolen to like give back to the places they were stolen from, he texts some interesting people. Where's Virgil, Texas? Where is Virgil, Texas?
Hatred of pedocapitalism, Revolutionary Left Radio, and Guerrilla History Pod for my praxis in history, or Blowback for their incredible storytelling. Oh, also a little podcast called The Deprogram that yours truly runs with Hakeem and Second Thought.
Interesting.
Below, but yeah, contrary to the newsphere, the left has managed to find its place in this medium, with some of the most grassroots financially backed pods out there being the very ones which are working towards the good old cause. The entertainer step of the funnel in general is pretty exclusive to the internet. Grassroots organization is too busy feeding and housing people to also give them a laugh. It's also the perfect stepping stone one can take because, let's be honest, it's mostly not that heavy. None of us can bear to sit through books and documentaries and heavy-handed videos all the time, especially when we're not really that involved with a thing in the first place. People at this stage of the funnel really aren't. And that's exactly what our darling entertainers managed to do. Bridge that gap between a slight interest and real passion by totally normalizing a school of thought that should have been the standard in the first place. The right might have war movies, billionaire funding, and countless grifters, but they will always be, well, boring. I've opened up your mind to it. All those years of indoctrination have finally been flushed out along with your daily intake of cigarettes and vodka. You've had an ideological enema and are now finally ready to learn. So, just like in IRL, there's nothing you can't do without the right hype man. This section of the funnel, as I've just said, is there to actually show you why the current status quo really isn't doing it for you. Something happened in your life, or you spent enough time around leftist ideas, and it triggered your need to learn more. But it's not like you'll actually sit through difficult to understand theory and ideas, and you're still skeptical of the concept that there might be actual alternatives to the current system. It's not that bad, you know? And that's exactly where these hype man channels come into play. They, while on the surface having been cut into different categories, really only have one role: touch on particular people's particular pain points and explain why, very truthfully, they're directly or indirectly systematic, and therefore fixable. How capitalism hurts you is somewhat of my channel's specialty, focusing on how you're screwed over financially, emotionally, in spirit and soul. How your boss twists modesty on you as some sort of virtue while...
Okay, so from what it's seeming like to me, it seems like what... Oh, shit. I forgot about this guy. It seems like what he's considering a hype man is someone who kind of just gives life advice to people and tells them, hey, look, socialism can help you, buddy, if you become a socialist, if that's what he means by hype man, like someone who hypes up the audience.
Siphoning almost all the money you generate for himself. How your inability to find true community or love is stifled by the ever-growing commodification of all relationships, including the family. How dreams which would have been considered modest in the middle of the last century are now borderline impossible for you to achieve, and so on and so on and so on. Channels
Okay.
like my dear friend JT
Ah.
of Second Thought, who introduces his viewers to a more material understanding of how things really
Make
work
fun
in
of it.
capitalism through the brilliantly written and produced videos. One Dime's crazy insight into the economy, ideology, and the future. Unlearning of economics. Niche but incredibly important topics like the ones covered by the likes of Catherine or
I don't know.
Andrewism, history deep dives by Freda, History Civilis, or the brilliantly passionate Lady Izdihar. How we're impacting our very own planet, explained by channels like Our Changing Climate, as well as fantastic anti-fascist cultural and social commentators like FD Signifier, Bess D. Marks, Luna Oy, Cock Philosophy, Non-Compete, or John the Duncan, and many others.
Okay.
The hype men are the breaking point, the closest to an actual PR team of the online left pipeline. They're supposed to be direct, honest, clear, and if possible, just a little bit entertaining. This is where the marketing of ideas kind of stops. For the only people moving to the next step are those looking for solutions of the problems defined and explained in this section of the funnel. People who finally understand this shit makes no sense and ask the scariest question. What is to be done?
Yeah, Luna Oi as
This
the
whole
hype man.
class is gonna feel my wrath.
Okay, so it seems like to me with his definition of the hype man and more importantly who he talked about being hype man, it seems a lot like to me, just to me, that the hype man, why are you even in the sewer? Oh wait, you're the guy, but how'd you get over here? But yeah, no, it seems like, how did you get over there? Okay, it seems like to me that this is a lot of promotion of my buddies. This is a lot of, oh shit, cool. I'm not gonna bio-leech the fucking enemy. Evil Carver shit. But yeah, no, it seems like to me that this sounds like a load of, these people are my friends, and I'm gonna classify them as hype men, and the people who do the same thing that I don't like will not get the same classification as well. A lot like to me.
Now, D nice.
You mean Denise?
Oh no.
The teachers represent the free online universities of
This is the part that I've been waiting for. The last part, the teachers. Who does he consider to be the worthwhile teachers of lefty views on YouTube? Who does he consider to be worthy of the title teacher? Now, my general advice when it comes to consuming lefty content is, yeah, while you can definitely watch videos from people, for the love of God, do yourself a little bit of reading. And it doesn't even have to be fucking theory reading. It doesn't have to be theory reading. You don't even have to read, well, it would be nice if you read some theory, but you don't have to read all theory. You don't have to be an all theory god, okay? You don't have to do that. But, like, go through some like Wikipedia articles at the bare minimum, maybe. You know, check the sources to make sure it's a trustworthy article and like make sure it doesn't have any particular bias, that it's just, how did you get there? And it's just giving you like no particular bent outside of like historical truth. Yeah, maybe read fucking the Communist Manifesto. Unironically, I know some of you might say, oh, that sounds a little ridiculous, but like, look, if you're watching me, I'm a fucking Marxist. The Communist Manifesto is not a fucking difficult read at all. It's probably Capital that's a difficult. If you want to read some further, you can read Vladimir Lenin, Capitalism, the Highest State of Imperialism. Or I think it was I'm so fucking tired. I'm even blanking on the title of that book, and I really liked it. It's Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism, isn't it? Yeah, it's Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism. I got the two mixed up. But you can even read that by Vladimir Lenin. It is a great book. You can, of course, read some of our more favorite Books as well. You can read Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky. May not necessarily be left-wing theory, but it's a pretty good book to read. Well, it may not necessarily have been intended as left-wing theory, but a pretty good fucking book to read if you wanna talk about the things mentioned in Manufacturing Consent. Do reading. It's actually fun when you get into it. But at the same time, be very wary. Just because you read someone's content doesn't mean that it's all fucking good. I've read books from people that I thought, hey, that was a pretty good fucking book. But the person still fucking sucks. Like I think a couple of years back in middle school, I read a book by Mahatma Gandhi, where it was like talking about Mahatma Gandhi's like non-violent practices, and I thought it was a pretty good fucking book. But the thing is, Mahatma Gandhi was a piece of fucking shit, and I'm not necessarily gonna like sit around and fucking jerk his cock, you know? Be careful. Do not worship people, and also don't rely on YouTubers to get all of your information. That is a bad thing. Don't do that. If you're only watching me to get all of your information, or if you're only watching other YouTubers to get all of your lefty information, do a little bit more. Just trust me. Trust me. We are human. We are dumb. And a lot of us are very politically biased. Making political content. Be mindful of that. I wouldn't necessarily want... There are people on the left who are definitely more in the camp of teaching people, but people bring their own narratives into this kind of teaching, especially this kind of decentralized teaching. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind as we go into this next segment.
Modern ideological education, just like professors in any college I can think of, most of them often disagree among themselves in most key issues. But with the students coming from all walks of life and incredibly eclectic material conditions, it's this very diversity of teachers the online left has that can be its strength. The teachers outlined the many schools of thought of our relatively young tradition, from the Marxists to the Kropotkins and the Luxemburgs and Lenins. They go in depth about how the current system functions, how it informs history, what had predated it, what alternatives to it exist, how they may be brought about, what the relationship is between man and labor, man and the material world, man and purpose. By teaching, they are fulfilling the very ideals set out to them by the oldest minds of these philosophies, changing the world. Their job is to give the tools needed to generations of self-conscious individuals to build not only progressive minds who believe, but hands which act. Together with the obviously far more important knowledge one gains from actual IRL organizing, these teachers, just like a mama bird, help chew through the heavy, often boring, long, and insanely complicated history and philosophy and carefully drop it into all of our hungry, angry mouths.
That is weird. Also, that is weird. That's weird framing. I'm sorry. Let's go back. That is really weird framing.
They go in depth about how the current system functions, how it informs history,
let's
what
go
had
completely
predated
back.
it, what alternatives to it exist, how they may be brought about, what the relationship is between man and labor, man and the material world, man and purpose. By teaching, they are fulfilling the very ideals set out to them by the oldest minds of these philosophies, changing the world. Their job is to give the tools needed to generations of self-conscious individuals to build not only progressive minds who believe, but hands which
I'm being honest,
together
the Mama
with
Bird
obviously
shit
far
was
more
really
important
fucking weird.
knowledge one gains from
really
actual
weird
IRL.
and fucking patronizing. And it also, like, even if he intended it as a joke, there's a reason why your brain creates certain jokes from certain situations. And the way that he framed that, it does kind of seem like he's calling, like, lefty YouTuber people who he considers, like, teachers of leftist philosophy. He's putting them on, like, some... Oh my god, can I fucking hit him? Okay. He's putting them on a very weird fucking pedestal. Again, my primary critique with lefty YouTubers who consider themselves teachers, or who would be considered teachers in this way, is that you're putting them on a pedestal as someone equivalent to an educator, which while someone can certainly educate in their videos, no one should ever be framed as being like the glorious fucking teacher who's gonna like give everyone the good knowledge. Because it does one of two things. One, it makes them almost immune in the minds of a lot of people from critique because they're the teacher. They're giving the history. They know the most about it. They're the teacher. Things of that nature, which is an opinion that a lot of people do have of teachers. You just don't realize it because you had bad teachers before when you were younger, but a lot of people do have that opinion of teachers, and especially when it's someone that they're self-selecting to teach them about something, it can be a bit of a fucking issue. With framing of that nature. That gets pretty fucking dangerous after a while, because then it's like, oh, this person's the teacher. We can't really comment on them or talk about them or criticize them because they know what they're talking about. Clearly, I must be wrong if I don't agree with them. This is another thing that the political right actually relies on, is that they have content creators who are functionally teachers to their audience. That's what people like Ben Shapiro do. That's what people like Matt Walsh do, like Michael Knowles do. PragerU is a pretty good example of this. PragerU is actually the perfect example of it. PragerU stations themselves as being teachers. That's what they call themselves. That's what they station themselves as. They're called Prager University. They had to shorten it. I believe Dennis Prager wanted it to be an actual university, but he couldn't get to that point. It's called PragerU, for a reason. Yeah, this framing of online teachers of certain things as, which I'm not comparing like leftists to fucking PragerU. I'm just saying, like, incidentally, this is something that we should be wary of in all cases. It's very fucking weird to hold people up on the pedestal of being teachers. And I'm guessing I'm gonna say the Mama Bird thing, probably a bit of a fucking cheeky joke, still a little weird to me. But I think it's pretty weird to have that kind of framing, and I shouldn't have jumped off there. But I think it's pretty weird to have that kind of framing around it because it lends a lot of a very specific kind of dangerous goodwill to people who may not need it, may not deserve it, may not need to have it, etc., etc., etc. It's very dangerous. It's a very bad path when it comes to talking about online content creators.
Organizing these teachers, just like a mama bird, help chew through the heavy, often boring, long, and insanely complicated history and philosophy and carefully drop it into all of our hungry, angry mouths. Spit that pure ideology into my mouth, mommy.
Okay,
Am I
so
right? Oh, Jesus, why did I keep this in the script?
Where
was it? Yeah, the teacher.
But still, the teacher
their
framing
job
is weird.
never really ends, even if they get someone to move on from the funnel, because as they say, the more you know nothing. And so, who are they? Well, some of my favorite and most impactful channels of this finishing line of ours are people like my dear brother Hakim, who somehow takes the Alexandrian library he has in his head and gives us what we need to know. Theory channels like Marxism Today, The Marxist Project, Prol Cult, Epoch Philosophy, Zoe Baker for the Anarchist, or The Finnish Bolshevik for the MLs, Jonas Jacob from Kak Philosophy for those in between, and probably plenty others. Hell, I'll probably get into so much trouble for even putting them all on one list, but that's Papa Yugopniks' burden to bear. I might like some of my kids more than the others, but I'll never, ever tell them. The teachers are here to help, learn, and wave as the new generations of terminally online humanoids slowly creep out and touch the grass.
Okay. Oh, wait, we have a conclusion.
No matter how much shit they get, or we get, I've always loved this little nook of the internet. At the end of the day, cut to its most basic truth, it's a bunch of people who wanted to find a way to escape the daily grind of the very system they know and hate, while at the same time doing their part to push for an alternative to that very same system. They save themselves from the
Okay, sorry, you got it.
Touch the grass.
Distracted me.
No matter how much shit they get, or we get, I've always loved this little nook of the internet. At the end of the day, cut to its most basic truth, it's a bunch of people who wanted to find a way to escape the daily grind of the very system they know and hate, while at the same time doing their part to push for an alternative to that very same system. They saved themselves from the proletarian grind, but didn't forget their roots. It's not just content for the sake of content, at least not most of the time. And if they trick the market into putting bread on their table while they shit talk it, then, and I might be subjective here, they might have just found one of the last cheat codes to this massively unfair game we've all been thrust into
I'm playing on a
without
PlayStation 2.
our consent.
Not
If
2,
we
3.
put the infighting to the minimum, concentrate on the goal, and do our small but significant parts, both these creators and the incredible communities they're building could have a real impact. Or maybe this is just all a big useless circle jerk. But then
Ow.
again, you did just finish
Ow.
the video.
Oh, okay. That was actually that was a come joke.
Thank you for watching.
I
Now,
will give
be a
that to
good
him.
Tavarish and smash that subscribe button
That
if you liked
was
what you saw. Or
pretty damn
even
good.
better, if you're able
I'm
to
joking.
check
Why
out
am
my
I getting
Patreon,
back up
where
close?
for the price of less than a can of beer a month, you can help this channel run. Now, I'd like to take a moment to thank all my wonderful patrons, without whom none of this would be possible.
Okay. So. That was a video. We are an hour 35 in. You can't say that I stole content, because we are 2 times the length of this video. Thereabouts. About. Why did you blow yourself up? It was not intentional. Okay. So. Zoe Baker has an actual PhD in the topic. Yeah, that is important. So let me talk a bit after I fix the Afro dip from the headphones. Let's talk a bit about that video. Generally, the topics that he talked about were not completely terrible. I do agree with his definition of a tumor. I do think someone who is only in lefty politics spaces with the intention of promoting themselves, getting bigger, and they do that through using drama and things of that nature, I think I would generally agree with that. I would generally agree that those people are tumors. However, there are some very, very notable parts about this video that I disagree with. So I'm going to start with the least spicy and then get to the most spicy. One, this is something that we need to realize as lefty YouTubers and as a lefty space online. You do no good watching us. You do no good watching lefty YouTubers if you are not transforming that to some form of real-life political move. If you can do so safely. If you can do so safely and you're just watching us and you aren't doing that, and you can do so safely and realistically, and it's not going to be a burden on you, we have failed you. You should be going out and doing political action, or staying in and doing political action through phone banking. There are plenty of things that you can do. There's plenty of mutual aid you can engage in. You can go work at a soup kitchen. You can help volunteer. You can go to protests, etc., etc., etc. There are plenty of very important things that you can do as a watcher of lefty political content, and if we aren't causing you to do that, then that's a bad thing. I also do generally agree that people who get into lefty content just to do drama stuff, that's bad. If you're in lefty spaces just to do drama and just to make money off of doing drama and calling people out while doing drama, you are not doing good lefty stuff. You're just doing infighting for the sake of getting bigger, which is not good. Don't do that. Stop doing that. That's something that I avoid doing. I said it earlier in the video. I generally try to avoid covering drama unless I can add my 2 cents to it and potentially turn it into an educational situation. Again, I said it. I did that recently with the video where I talked about Keffels not being a fascist, where I used someone calling Keffels a fascist on Twitter, and then I jumped off from that to talk about how we should be careful with the labels that we categorize on people. I try not to engage in drama just to engage in drama. I try to add an educational bent to it. You know, that's what I do in a lot of my videos. I will take something and then I will transform it into a more generalized position on something. So I'll talk about conservatives being mad that Miles Morales is Spider-Man, and then I'll talk about the deeper implications of that, their racism, their inability to accept change, and how they're bad. I'll take very I'll take very niche things and transform it into political topics because that's an important thing to do. So again, I try not to do that with drama. But people who are actively drama hawking are bad. On the tumor side of the actually no, I'm not even gonna get to the tumors yet. On the side of what he decided to call people in the video, generally I agree with it. I think his characterization of hype men was weird. It was weird the way that he did it. It felt like it didn't necessarily match up with what you would consider your traditional hype men to be. Like, as someone who has watched a lot of Second Thoughts content, I know, shocking. But as someone who's watched a lot of Second Thoughts content, I wouldn't consider him a hype man. I would more call him someone who's more on like the attempting to be an educator side. But even then, that's something that I also don't like, is framing of teachers. Yugopniks framing of Peeper. Yugopniks framing of people. Good night, Kenneth Bernie. Yugopniks framing of teachers in the field is not something that I like. Every time that you watch Lefty content, and I know I just said that I try to put something a little bit educational, I try to talk about, I try to give some prescriptive statements, things that I would like to see more in my videos, and I try to educate people on some things. I will never call myself a teacher in this field. I am someone who has simply seen things, you know, and I have some things to say and I have my own opinions, but you should never take it as gospel. If you walk away from one of my videos without questioning why I'm saying what I'm saying, how I'm saying it, how I could be doing it better, then you aren't doing right. Part of the reason why I got into left-wing content creation is because I saw people that I agreed with making mistakes that I didn't like in their content. I saw this most notably in like some of the debates that I watched that I thought could have been a little bit rhetorically better. Like the Vosh versus Professor Flowers debate. Generally, I agree with Vosh in that debate, but there are some things that I feel like he could have done better, like pointing out the position of black people in the United States of America. I think that's something that he could have done better, that he, to my memory, didn't do. I got into lefty content because I have had disagreements with people in the field, and I want to be able to express my own opinions in the field and how they may differ from people, which I can get into my Bosch Professor Flowers debate opinions later on in a later video. But I generally agree with him. I just feel like he could have been rhetorically better. Y'all want the quick TLDR. But there are some things that could be done better there, and I don't particularly like the framing of people as teachers. That puts them on a pedestal that they are undeserving of, not because I necessarily think they're bad people, but because we make content on YouTube. We make content on YouTube that is about the left and is politically bent, and as such, I can't necessarily consider us to be full teachers or educators in any meaningful way. Yeah, if we want to talk about teachers on YouTube, I wouldn't even call Vsauce like a YouTube teacher. I would say that they are educational entertainment, but they are not teachers. Teachers on YouTube are people who actually teach shit, like subjects, and when it gets down to it, there is no lesson plan here. There is no test. It's political content all the same. It's just political content with a more educational perspective on. That's really the only thing about it. So I think that frame is weird. Lastly, let's talk about tumors. I'm sure you noticed it, but a lot of the people that Yugopnik was highlighting in his video were people that he was friends with. He kept talking about Second Thought and Hakim, who he is friends with. And a lot of the people he was talking about seem to be people that he's on relatively good terms with or have a positive opinion of. At least we would assume has a positive opinion. Now, considering the spaces that Yugopnik operates in alongside other people and the creators that he was talking about promoting, people like Noah Samson, people like FD Signifier, even people like Hakim, it seems like he's definitely more so in the anti... Fuck it. In the anti sort of streamer dirtbag left, I guess you could call him, space, is what I guess you could describe them as, even though I wouldn't even say dirtbag left is like Chapo Trap Houses. Like, basically the space that they consider Vosh and his org. So most notably, despite the fact that Vosh has directed his audience to do very good political action, again, like I said, raising almost $300,000 for the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund in a 24-hour live stream is massive. Also, the phone banking that he did, massive as well. I find it very interesting that he wasn't at least mentioned for that reason. Despite the fact that Vosh really doesn't engage in drama unless someone complains about him, which in that case, he will cover it occasionally. And the fact that he isn't really a personal brand pusher. He's not really big on pushing the Vosh brand. It's just kind of a thing that developed naturally, and he sells shirts. That's kind of it. I also find it very interesting that he would omit Xanderhall. Xanderhall is not small in the space. He probably knows who Xan is, if he knows who FD Signifier and Noah Samson is. If he knows who Noah Samson is, good chances are he knows who Xan is, and Xan doesn't even engage in drama all that much either. A lot of his content isn't drama related. Of course, you will have people who will say, oh, well, he talked about getting into the drama space a couple of years ago, but that was mostly just trying to get the drama space to have more of a left-wing political bent than the right-wing political bent that they have, which, if anything, I would prefer people if people watch drama content, they would rather watch left-leaning drama YouTubers than right-leaning drama YouTubers. Because right-leaning drama YouTubers put people down a right-word pipeline, left-leaning drama YouTubers put people down a left-word pipeline. Is it ideal? No, it's drama, but it's better they be on the left than on the right. Okay? But, more on the topic. I find that a very interesting omission. That it seems like his tumors space might just be a way to categorize YouTubers that he doesn't necessarily like all too much, especially considering the fact that the not tumor side seem to be YouTubers that he was fairly amicable to. It's almost like saying everyone that I disagree with is a tumor. I hope they get out of it. By that, I mean, no, because even people who don't engage in tumorish behavior are omitted from the video, despite the fact that they've been fairly notable in size and reach, and helping usher people into the left. I'm going to consider these people tumors. Also, I find it very interesting, too, that, at least to my knowledge, we didn't get an outright Vosh mention in the video. Especially when we consider the fact that early on in the video, we see instances, like 26 seconds in, of course it was shown earlier in the video, now it wants to...
Arena, which is...
Yeah. Like, we see instances where he literally puts up Vosh next to Noah Samson, Bad Empanada, and Sean, who are all content creators that he talked about. All I'm saying is, it's very clear that he did that for a reason. And if anything, I would say that in of itself is kind of drama baity. I generally respect Yugopnik. I would say this video has largely been decent in what it talked about, but it also very clearly has a bent to it. Basically, the generalized frame of the video is decent, what he's going at is decent, and his definition of what a tumor is decent, but it's also very clear through the people that he decided to feature, in particular, that he is trying to push a particular side of this left YouTube pipeline, which, might I note, wasn't really created by people in the live streamer space that he wasn't talking about, that he decided to feature video wise, but had probably very strong implications, might fall into the tumor side, which is an issue. But regardless, all in all, don't hold up lefty YouTubers on a pedestal. We are not deserving of a pedestal. And be smart. Think for yourself, and like I said, actually read stuff. Read theory. It's fun. You don't have to read all of it, but it's fun to read theory. And don't rely too much on YouTube content creators to get your entertainment. Not entertainment, but your lefty education. Because we are biased, we are humans, and we are very, 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 very vulnerable to only watching the people that we personally like. Yeah, and it's important to rise above that. I watch content creators I don't necessarily agree with. I watch Hakeem. I watch Second Thought. I watch Yugopnik. I don't agree with them on all issues, but it is pretty important to watch people across the spectrum so that you aren't stuck in one area, and I find that this video did a pretty bad job at trying to keep people stuck in only a select number of Yugopnik-approved areas. The people that he personally likes, and then it's framed more so as but these are like people you should watch, good people in this space. Regardless, if you like this video, you can like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We just hit 4.7k subscribers, which I have to thank you all for. Thank you so much. It really helps me out as a smaller lefty content creator. I hope to expand my horizons so that I can continue to engage in this content and also become one of those video essayist entertainers that he was talking about in the videos, because I like video essays. I want to take my crack at them. Also, as well as this, you can join the Discord so that you know whenever that channel launches, or so that you know whenever I go live. We have over 200 people in the Discord. It's a nice little fan community. So yeah, that's pretty nice. You can also follow me on Twitter, link down below, and I tweet there, because it's Twitter, where you tweet. Regardless, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching this long one. Love y'all. And peace. Gotta hit the stop recording button.